Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. I have a 2017 Dodge Ram 1500. Check engine light, obvious misfire, feels running like it's running rough, and it's got several codes. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go through the diagnostic of how I figure this out and what I'm gonna do to fix it. So stick around, let's get started. All right, so you can see right now the codes. We have P0306, a cylinder 6 misfire active, a P26AB, which is an engine coolant bypass valve that's also active. Now the bypass valve isn't going to make it run rough, so I'm going to concentrate my time on figuring out why cylinder 6 is not running right. All right, so I got the misfire counter up on the screen right now, and right now it's showing the number 2 is really jumping up there on the misfire, and it shows nothing on number 6, which is kind of weird. I expected to see him on both, or even the number 6, because it said it was active. But right now I'm going to have to look at those cylinders and see what's going on. So you can tell just by looking at it right now, it's got an obvious shake, and the cylinders I want to look at are going to be number 2 and number 6, which unfortunately it's underneath that intake right here on this side. So the way it goes is, on the standing in front of the motor on the left side is going to be 135, and then on the other side it's 246. So I was hoping it'd be on this side, because this is obviously the easiest side to work on, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to take off that intake manifold so I can get access to those injectors in the coils, so I can open them out and kind of see what's going on there. All right, guys, get the cylinders 2 and 6. You gotta start by taking off this cover. We're off. Here you got a sensor. You gotta disconnect it. Pull that off. Blow by, no doubt. Get rid of this. There it is. You gotta take off the wire harness. Go, get that out the way. This hoses. Harness, lift it up, get it out the way. Do all these hoses. Pull them back. They go behind the dipstick over here. It's gonna be a couple of 10 millimeters holding on a bracket. These two little things right here to hold on this bracket. Take that bracket off. There's another hose right here. Gotta disconnect it. There we go. Now we got these wires taking off these brackets here. Bracket can stay there. Gonna be 2 nuts here and 2 nuts over there. 10 millimeter. The 2 back there, I'm gonna have to get a ratcheting wrench on it, because I can't get my other one in there. You can see in the back there are 2 little nuts that hold on a bracket. You got to take those off. Those are held on by 10 millimeter nuts. So once you do that, I got to take these little ones off. There's gonna be, I don't know, like 10 of them or something. Take those off, and then the intake should come off. You have to do it at an angle. Oh, I also got to get this, disconnect the throttle body right here. Off. Now I'm gonna zip off these other ones. Look like they're 8 millimeter. One bitch bolt in the back. there goes the intake. This is what we're dealing with right here. Got this cover, just comes out. And there we go. We got access to the coils and the injectors. Now I'm gonna do this, see this is number 2, and there's another one for number 6, so it's 2, 4, 6. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to ohm everything out and see if anything kind of sticks out. I don't wanna buy a coil, put it in there and find out it's the injector. So let me go do that, and then what I'll do is I'll compare them with the other ones and we'll see what we can find out. First thing we're going to do right now is we're going to look for anything obvious. So like say something unplugged, or that feels nice and tight, maybe a broken wire on cylinder number 2 here. Everything looks pretty good. Okay, what I did was unplug the coils, and then now I'm going to unplug the injectors one at a time. There's a little red tab on it. I don't know if you can really see it. There's a little red tab inside there that you lift up on. It's a safety lock, and you just lift up on that tab. Come on, there we go. See how it kind of pops up there? Little red tab there. Now it'll let me unplug it. So you just kind of squeeze the other tab on the other side and pull it up. I'm gonna do that to all 3 of them, and then I'm gonna ohm them out to see if anything stands out. All right, another precaution I'm gonna make, I'm gonna cover up the holes on the intake. I'd really hate for something to fall inside the hole and get sucked into the cylinder. Anyways, got everything unplugged. You see I'm moving the harness out the way. That way I can go and start to look at the resistance specs in there. Now, I'm assuming that the spec for number 4 is gonna be good, because the cylinders in questions are 2 and 6, right? So the 4 is going to be my standard, and I'm going to measure everything out, and hopefully I'll find one or something that's not within the same standard. Like the spec is going to be off or something. So, all right, now one of the easiest things to check are the coils, and what I did is I went ahead and numbered them so I can compare them all, 2, 4, and 6. Okay, so I'm going to do inside there are 2 little pins in there that I'm going to touch the pins with this voltmeter. There you go. It's about 1 ohm. The 1 ohm in number 2. Now number 4 is the one that was working good, so I'm going to try to see what we can get across the terminals here. Same thing, about 1.2. So 2 and 4 are reading the same. 6. I'm gonna touch them now. There we go. It's 1.2, 1.1. So we got about the same resistance out of both, but all 3 of the coils. So I'm guessing I'm gonna find a bad injector over there. So I went online and I looked up the resistance spec on these coils, and it is 0.6 to 0.9 ohms. So we are right there. So none of these coils appear to be bad. So let's go check out the injectors over there. Check the resistance and the injector. I'm going to touch them on the inside there. Nothing. I'm not getting any resistance whatsoever. Let's go this one we know is running good. Cylinder 4. There we go. That's more like it. The resistance is showing around 14 ohms, which is really, really good. Now we're gonna go check this one on number 6. Number 6 is showing, if you can read that, about 36 ohms, which is way over what it should. And if you could recall, we had a code for number 2 and number 6. So what I'm gonna recommend to the customer is that she replaces all 3 injectors on this one side. That way she doesn't have to pay me again to do that other injector when it goes bad. The parts came in. I'm gonna replace these 3 injectors on 2, 4, and 6. To do that, I'm gonna disconnect the fuel to it. You gotta squeeze the little green tabs together, rotate a little bit, wiggle. There we go. Then I'm going to remove these torques. Gently lift up. There we go. Wiggle, pull them out. Sometimes they fight you because it's a good seal. Rocking back and forth, boop, pops it right up. There we go. There's 2, 3. Now this particular one left the O-ring inside that intake, so I'm gonna get a pick tool and take those out. There, you always gotta make sure that you account for all the parts. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got them all right there. Try to clean up in there best you can. Not gonna be perfect. Not gonna keep everything from falling in. All right, guys, again, what we're gonna do is we are gonna bench test these injectors so we can kind of give you a real good idea of how to do that when it's in your car. This is the first injector. You touch in the 2 little terminals in there. Touch them, 36. Now this was cylinder number 6. That resistance is too high. Even though it was firing, it was still throwing a code, so we're gonna replace that one. That one's no good. This one right here, touching the 2 terminals, I'm not getting any reading whatsoever. This is an open circuit, an open coil. This is no good. This is our problem one that was on cylinder number 2, why it wouldn't fire. Here's a third one from cylinder number 4. When you touch the terminals together, you're getting good resistance, but since we are actually gonna have to take and replace those 2, I don't wanna have it to where one day, next week, or whatever, the other one goes out. So we're just gonna replace all 3. And this is a brand new one. I'm gonna show you the resistance on a brand new one. The same thing, it's gonna be right around 12.6, 12.5. That's good right there. So we're gonna put 3 new injectors in on that one side, and this thing should purr like a kitten. Put these injectors in. I'm gonna lube the O-rings with a little bit of Vaseline, make them easier to slide in and push together, and it helps seal it. So you got that one right there. Gonna go right there. Oop, pops in right there. Do the same for all 3. You can tell I put those coils back. We're gonna reuse the coils because there really isn't any problem with those coils. We already found our smoking gun. Now I'm gonna put this one on the rail back on it. It's got these little alignment tabs. Gotta make sure that they're lined up so when you push on it, I don't know if you can see it, right there we got this little space and a little tab on there. So once we get on there, we can start kind of getting that thing in there. Let's go ahead and put the screws back in it. And again, before you crunch down on it, make sure you're in those tabs so you don't break anything. It's all plastic. So there we go. Crunch down real good. Before. Now, connect the fuel line. You can line up the tabs on there. There we go. Pull back and forth, make sure it's locked in. Now we can put down the harness. 1, push down. 2, push down. Coil. Double check everything. Got little secure deals for it. Everything's plugged in. All right, so first I'm gonna put back this little insulator deal. I'm gonna reuse the gaskets for the intake. Plus they don't look like they're real flat. Put on this intake here. It's a little bit of a fight because you gotta put it in at an angle and get those studs in there. Plop it down. Make sure you're on there all the way. Looks good. Now I'm gonna put these on first before I put the side studs on there, because this is where the sealing action, the other nuts on the side here are they're just like a support. The torque isn't too much, so don't go all crazy with it. I'm gonna go around with the regular ratchet and just kind of feel it out. Make sure they're all tight. Put this little bracket on. Now we got these 2 bolts in the back. All right, now we gotta hook up the electrical. Clicked. Put in the keeper. Have to get the hoses that pull out the way. There we go. Like that better. There we go. Got this one. All right, now I'm putting in the other part of the intake. Got that on there. It's a blow by. Plug in this sensor. Check, make sure everything's plugged in. Looks like it is. Clip, clip. As you can see, where we had the misfires on cylinder number 2, right now it's at 0. So that's what you want to see. Same thing, 5 and 6. But as you can see, there's absolutely no misfire, so that's good news. I'm very happy with this truck when I give it back to her. So, if you remember before, the engine was running really rough. Right now, that thing is just running really, really smooth, and so I'm very happy with the way things turned out. And I'm gonna go for a drive and see how well it performs.